Finally, I'm settled. Yeah, we should find a way by which we don't need any of these wirings. You could just speak, and if any time we need to project, there should be an amplifier. Good morning. How are you doing? Good? That's wonderful. Welcome to this Sunday morning session. We'll begin with a short meditation. And let me have a feel of the make of the audience. How many of you are totally new to meditation? Okay, yes. So you will figure out that yes, you were not totally new. You were in meditation in and out, just as many of us are. And those who are doing better maybe finding themselves in meditation more often than not. But meditation we would all have done, no matter for how short period. But still, I'll do my best in attending to your needs. Basically, we'll do it. Just as philosophy is something to be done, likewise meditation is to be done, not to be talked about only. So, first and foremost, since we are all seated, when we do meditation seated, we have to have one thing very clear: the back upright. Back upright is the most important position. So find yourself in a dignified position, yet comfortable. Dignified in that your chest comes a little bit forward, and that right away naturally positions you in an attentive state of mind to a certain extent. With your hands in any position that is comfortable, but the classical hand position for seated meditation is this, with the palms facing upward and the right hand placed on the left, thumbs touching, barely touching, and placed on your lap. That helps in kind of having your shoulders winged out. And leg-wise, it could be any position. Many of you are in cross-leg position, any position that you are comfortable. Some are in what we call sangpe duktang. Many of you are in leg position-wise, you are in, we call that sangpe duktang. How should I translate it? Kindness posture. Kindness posture. I find you in kindness posture, kind enough to be ready to move on to wherever you maybe needed to help out. Whereas for us who are seated comfortably, it will take a little while to unwind. So yes, leg-wise, finding yourself in any form that you're comfortable. Now we'll begin. Meditation is basically a mental enterprise. It is a mental fitness exercise. We work so hard on our bodies. Likewise, we need to even do more on the mind, because between the two, mind is more primary. And we are feeling beings, we are feeling things, we are experiencing things, and feeling happens, of course, to a certain extent on the bodily level, but mostly on the mental level. So that part really needs to be very fit. And meditation is geared towards that. So with that said, let's find ourselves in comfortable yet dignified position with the back upright, eyes semi-closed or closed, whatever is comfortable, convenient for you. If semi-closed, let the gaze be kind of angled at the tip of the nose. Lips, tongue, teeth kind of left natural without closing them hard, neither widely open. The tip of the tongue could be raised slightly upward, barely touching the upper palate. That will help in the regulation of the saliva in the course of one's meditation. But whenever one feels a saliva build up, one can allow oneself to swallow it down, but quietly, barely hurt by the people around you. And also during the meditation, whenever you feel the need of taking a deep breath, you allow yourself, but again, do that in as quiet way as possible. So that's basically it. And the main thing is to draw the mind's attention inward. We begin by taking 3 rounds of deep, deliberate breath. We begin with in-breath through the nostrils, followed by out-breath through the mouth. That way we'll take 3 rounds of deep, deliberate breath and allow time for ourselves in breathing in and breathing out completely. During those times, let your attention also rest on the breath, just as in the course of the meditation. But maybe today we'll try slightly different meditation, so just follow me. So let's begin by taking 3 rounds of deep, deliberate breath, breathing in through the nostrils and out through the mouth. Let's begin. Now slowly, taking your own time, return back to the natural rhythm of breathing, breathing in and out through the nostrils in one's usual natural way. And try to be aware of the breathing process by feeling the sensations of touch, pressure, vibration, tingling, temperature, coolness, warmness, whatever it may be, at the nostrils, within the nostrils, every time we breathe in and breathe out. Try to bring mind's attention fully on this singular activity of breathing that one is engaging in here and now. Let go of any other distracting thoughts, be that of looking into the past, anticipating something into the future, or being engrossed with something happening right now other than the focus on the breath. Or else it could take place in the form of judgment, being judgmental, worrying, wondering, worrying whether one is doing it right or not, or being judgmental. Just merely acknowledge them when they happen. Let go of them. Remember to come back to the breath and follow the breath, or rather walk with the breath hand in hand. This is not so much about thinking of the breath, but rather feeling the breath, being the breath, even becoming it. Let's take 2 rounds of deep breath, breathing in and out through the nostrils here. And when we take these breaths, remember to rest one's attention on the deep breaths as well. Let's begin. Continue on with focusing on the breath as it is taking place in natural form. See if you find any sense of grasping or holding on to the breath as one attends to it. Recognize that, even let go of that. Come back to being with the breath, just barely with the breath, feeling it, sensing it, walking hand in hand with it. Let go of any attempts to grasp at the breath, holding on to the breath, or regulating the breath. Just let that be the natural way, and merely be aware of it. That way, allow for almost becoming one with the breath, as though you feel it breathing you. In other words, let the breathing process be itself, with oneself being a mere witness to it as it is happening. Shifting one's attention from the breath, try to feel one's body, drop into it, with a sense of openness. Try to see if you find any sense of grasping, holding on to any tension, any feelings happening in any part of the body. Recognize that, relax that, unwind that, permit it to be itself. Any feelings, any sensations that may be happening, any sense of tension, friction, Just merely acknowledge them, let they be in their own natural way. Let your sense of the body be as open, as allowing, as permitting for it to be itself. Whenever you feel distracted, merely acknowledge that. Remember to come back to this awareness of the body, allowing it to be its natural way. Let's take 2 more rounds of deliberate breathing through the nostrils. Slowly come back to this sense of openness to the body, letting go of any grasping to it, any holding on to it. Now slowly move the focus from the body to one's mental thoughts, processes. Again, see, notice if you sense any grasping to any particular thought, any attempt to hold on to a particular thought process, thought pattern. Merely recognize that. Remember to relax that, unwind that. Into the deep open space of allowing and letting it be. See if we can go deeper to access the deep space of compassionate allowing, compassionate letting be of just about any thought process, thought patterns, feelings. Allowing ourselves to sense the deep space of kindness, of letting be, of acceptance. And try to stay with that sense of openness with regard to the thoughts, feelings, thought patterns, without giving in to grasping at them or holding on to them. Just see to it that you are kind enough to create that space for it to be. create that space of allowing and continue to stay in that. Let's once again take 3 rounds of deep breath, this time breathing in through the nostrils and out through the mouth. Let's begin. And when you breathe in and out this way also, try to rest one's attention on the breath. And when breathing out, feel that any lingering tensions, be that on the body, mind, emotion, some corner of the mind, any thoughts bugging you, feel that those are also being released out without breath, thus returning to being an open space of allowing things for what they are without any attempts to grasp at or holding on to them. Let's take 3 rounds of deep breath into the nostrils, out from the mouth. Now slowly return back to the natural rhythm of breathing. Breathing in and out through the nostrils. And try to rest one's attention on this breathing process as it is happening, without giving in to any attempts to grasp at them or hold on to them. Instead, see if you could just let it be its natural way. For the next several rounds, I will not interfere and try to do one's best. When one feels like having wandered away into thoughts and whatnot, merely acknowledge that and courteously bring one's mind back to this natural allowing. Likewise, see to that you don't give in to any attempts at grasping at the mind or any sensations of the body. Let there be a space, deep space, compassionate space of allowing, of letting it be, of letting be. Feeling the deep, compassionate space of acceptance, natural kindness of letting be. Be that the breathing process, physical sensations, or mental thought processes. aim for a state of alert relaxation. Alert in the sense that the mind is being attentive, alert to allowing this acceptance, to allowing this space, open space. Relaxed in the sense that it is not pursuing, chasing after any thoughts, sensations, or any feelings. Rather, allowing to let it be and try to pursue this process of letting be infused with a sense of enthusiasm, delight, and clarity. Now slowly, taking one's own time, slowly come out of the meditation by opening your eyes or lifting your gaze. Oh yeah. So, from this kind of meditation, one lesson that we can take in our daily life is to be, if we cannot be very compassionate and kind, to really go out, go forward and do something for others. At least be kind enough to let it be. Allow the space of things being the natural way they are, rather than interfere, more particularly interfere with the sense of narcissism, with a sense of grumpiness, with a sense of hurt, with a sense of self-centeredness. We can try to do that by learning to allow that and experience that with our own feelings, with our own attempts to grasp at, hold on to, be there to our thoughts, to our physical feelings, even to our breath, the process of breath. But then grow from there, extend that to others. By that, I'm not at all suggesting to be submissive, to be totally passive. No. Within that space of allowing, within that space of compassionate acceptance, without letting any ill feeling intervene, without letting any ill feeling, harmful feeling kind of fill in, one can then rise to the occasion, to whatever action may be needed. So definitely, no, don't mistake that for pessimism, no action, not at all. We start from this no harm, from this process of restraint to an active participation, but free from any hurtful feelings. That is possible. If we try that with ourselves, we can begin to then grow, and we'll definitely see a difference in our life, in the lives of others, in the condition within the whole globe. Right now, a lot more is going on. And with every passing day, we begin to become very clear of our interconnectedness, with our being trapped. Unless we do, we are part of the whole problem. Be that anywhere, just about anywhere. It's so sad, despite being 21st century, most are going back to the old times of really being mean to each other, not recognizing our own higher meaning purpose of life. Yes, it would be very good on our part if we could remember the patients of Ebola, people infected by them directly, indirectly, and particularly our thoughts go to the health workers there who put themselves in harm's way to cater to the needs, urgent needs, as well as to make a difference for the greater community at large. Let's take maybe a minute here to send our thoughts, send our goodwill, our wishes, our prayers, do our utmost in really sending them sincerely to all of them. And those who are subject to so many different sufferings, most of them man-made. Please join me in spirit when I say these lines, and try to come up with a felt sense of what we are saying. May all sentient beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. Surely happiness is not achieved through destruction, through ill will, through hurtful actions. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all sentient beings never be separated from joy that knows no miseries. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity. Unswayed by the forces of extreme attachment and hatred. May all sentient beings succeed in reaching deep into each and every one of themselves, in unearthing, in recognizing the wealth of positive potential, the wealth of goodness, kindness, compassion, understanding, enhancing them, growing them, bringing them to the surface to affect, define, qualify all of our actions from here onward. Okay, so by way of sharing, today I'm going to make a call. By way of sharing, I thought of going to no far-flung places, but just be around ourselves. Dig into our driving manuals, not of any other states, but of Georgia. Some of you may have heard this. When I was preparing for my driving test, preparing for my driving examination, I was going through this manual. I could not help but be really enthralled by finding Dharma gems all over. I just could not believe, and I ended up underlining so many of them. But then I could not just stop there. I had to just prepare for my exam, which I did, and then passed. But then I kept going back. Who knows, one day I might come up with a graph book with Dharma jewels in the driving machine, driving manual, but I don't want to wait until then. Nor is it a patented thing. It's not patented, so anyone can attempt that. I'm sharing some from the Dharma, from the driving manual. How many of you drive? Please raise your hands. See, just about all of you. So this should not be foreign at all. Yeah, but I cannot go through the entire manual, right? We don't have time for that. So I have selected some. Here's one on page 74. Page 74, line 4. Quote. I'm quoting, I'm not making up, okay? You can check. You can go back and check. If a traffic signal is not functional at an intersection, all drivers must treat the intersection as if a stop sign is posted for all directions. That's very true. Not just of driving. When we find ourselves in an intersection or meeting people, be that at a workplace, school, gathering, whatnot, if any one of the people do not seem to be that positively functional, in that intersection, consider that conversation to be at halt. Don't move forward. Because there's no so much prospect of making any progress. In a way, in such an intersection, any move, no matter how well meant, can be misconstrued, misunderstood, twisted, could be dumbed against anyone. So that's the lesson we learned there. It's just not true only true for the traffic light, but yes, in our intersections that we cannot avoid every now and then, even when we are seated alone, we could find ourselves in an intersection of dialogues, thoughts, and whatnot. When you find that during that intersection, some of the traffic lights within you is not functional, don't move forward. So it doesn't necessarily have to be limited to intersection in the sense of others being around you and you being just fine, you being the right one. No. Even within yourself, you can see some traffic lights not so functional. That's the case about functional. Something not functional, complete non-functional. But even if, another quote, second quote, if a traffic signal is not that completely non-functional, but malfunctioning and flashing, appearing to be functioning, but in actuality malfunctioning. Say somebody is talking to you. It seems like he or she is responding, and you are as well very much engrossed in that conversation. If somehow there is some screws missing, and the traffic light is not really functioning well, instead it's just making the appearance of functioning, but all it's doing is malfunctioning, drivers must proceed based on the color of the flashing signal they are facing. Don't insist. No, I said this. No, you said this. No, I said. Okay, you said it. Okay. At least for that moment, allow for that to be a correct flashing of the light and proceed there accordingly. See? Again, this can be applied to interpersonal meetings, particularly at workplaces, where we almost become unfunctional or dysfunctional. Sometimes things become so tense that the moment the co-workers meet, the functioning stops. It's almost better off to be led to each other, themselves, when we find ourselves to be functioning better. But we cannot help but meet. Right? So in such cases, if the lights are functioning or appearing to be functioning, but in actuality malfunctioning, for whatever reason, it could be personal, it could be anything. Some could be coming up with some screws already being taken away from home or anywhere, or something happened, some malfunctioning, something happened on the road, and now what was functioning completely well got unscrewed or whatever, and they begin to malfunction. So when you recognize that, understand that, but don't make too much fuss of that. Just merely follow the flashing lights there, even if coming from a malfunctioning machine. See, I'm not making up, okay? Let's go to the third one. Ooh, there's one on page 83, line 3. Drive defensively, not offensively. Being mindful of the actions of the drivers around you. When we think of driving, we always think of a vehicle that we are in, that we are driving. Actually, we are driving our car of life. We drive our life. Usually when we think of driving our life, we think of the body like the car, the mind being the driver. That's fine as far as the mind is a healthy one, trained one, but usually that's not the case. We have lots of work to do to refine the mind. Don't put it on the driver's seat. Make sure you are on the driver's seat. If at all you are going to give some function to the mind, let it be the steering that you hold and move, and then let the car move. So basically what I'm saying is, this analogy of driving a car can be applied to driving one's life, but not putting all charge on the mind, which is what we usually do. We let the mind kind of be the master and let it tell where to go. Of course, we have to still follow that. Mind says, go there, we go. But before the mind decides where to go, you decide where you want the mind to think to go. That's very important. We can do that. And that's what meditation is all about. Starting from focusing on breath, tending to be one-pointed, and be on the object where you want to be, where you want it to be, not what mind wants it to be. And then based on that kind of a concentration, then train it in more skillfulness, in being flexible to the situations, whatnot. Likewise, we have to be the driver of our life. Of course, maybe take help of the mind, but only as a secondary thing, not let it be on the driver's seat. And when we drive ourselves around, be defensive. This is such a wonderful metaphor. We have to start from being, from exercising restraint against our unruly actions. And they come from our unruly mind. So we need to exercise restraint there, not let that have a free spree. So restraint there, an exercise of restraint, an exercise of being defensive rather than offensive, giving them full spirit, full say in asserting themselves, rather kind of restrain them and drive your life, our life, defensively with full awareness of what is around us. So that means whoever we are around, be mindful that's what we are in, and then be very defensive in what to say, how much to say, what not to say, how to look, how to behave. Sometimes even our way we carry ourselves could irritate the situation. Something could be going everything well, but then all of a sudden you did something or you look at something, so everything would crumble down. So that's not being defensive, by being aware of the surrounding. So defensive in one's action of the mind, in one's action of the body, in one's action of the speech. When we are not defensive and not exercising any restraint, that's when so many things, so many unwanted things come out. Once they come out, they cannot be taken back, and they would have already spoiled it. That's because one was not defensive. What's next? Don't drive with a defective muffler. Don't drive with a defective muffler or defective external system. So here external system will be defective verbal system, defective physical system. No, not at all. That's almost starting out with problem. What can we expect more from such a defective system? If something is defective, and it wouldn't go well, right? So the way we behave verbally, not talking about our mind. Mind we could be very defective, but that cannot be seen for now. Of course, at least for a while, that could be kept in there. That cannot be seen. But that needs to be worked on to do a better job with taking care of the defective external system. Internal system needs to be in place, of course. But for now, if that's too much, at least take care of the external system. Don't let it be defective. Defective in one's speech, external verbal system, defective in our bodily system. No. We cannot afford to do that. If at all we are really sincere on our aspiration for happiness. If not, if we aspire for suffering, then it's a totally different thing. Totally different. Then go ahead. Then we need to really adopt a defective system. That's what will bring suffering. In bounties. But I guess no one wants suffering. I don't think so. Even if you appear to be suffering or taking hardship now, it's aimed at a long-term happiness. So basically, that too is nothing but rooted in happiness. So if that's what we are, then definitely don't go around with a defective external system. Well, how are you doing on time? We have 2-3 miles more to go. Okay. This is so good. Where are we? Okay. Again, there's a wonderful one. If a vehicle's ignition is placed in the lock position while the vehicle is in motion, wow, the steering capability of the vehicle will be disabled, and the driver will be unable to steer the vehicle. Unable to steer the vehicle where he or she wants to. I have myself experienced it. Not necessarily with the ignition in the lock position, but ignition in the... What was that? Something really happened that really taught me a lesson. When I could experience that no matter how much maneuvering I did, it wasn't listening to me. Yes, so I can understand this. If the ignition is in the lock position, our ignition is our conscience, our awareness, insight, intellect, intelligence. If that is in lock position, then even if we could be seen to be moving, doing things or not, we cannot be expected to do a good job, because our ignition is in lock position. So make sure that when we go out in our life, make sure that our ignition is in the right position. Ignition in the sense of our enthusiasm, in the sense of our awareness, in the sense of our priority list, in terms of what comes first, what comes next, what we are. More importantly, who we are, as a very unique thing among the many, many variety of things. We are so unique. We are a feeling thing. I always say that we do not need to be reminded of this, but somehow this is very important. And we feel at the mental level, and that needs to be taken care of. So, and for that we need to have the insight, the wisdom, the knowledge, the understanding, the wisdom to discriminate between long-term, short-term benefits, likewise. So if that ignition is in lock position, then we cannot expect to do well, ourselves and others also. So we have to recognize that. The next one is drive defensively. And the key to driving defensive driving is, you cannot believe this is coming from the driving manual, sorry. Awareness. Wow, what could be more Dharma than this? Dharma in the driving manual. Dharma jewels. Wow. Not necessarily Buddha Dharma, or Christian Dharma, Islam Dharma. It's a universal Dharma. Drive defensively. You may ask, how? Well, here's the key. The key to defensive driving is awareness. Be aware. Every now and then, be mindful of one's action. Be present. Even if it be as simple thing as washing dish, be aware, be present that that's what you're doing. I define being present in this respect. Being present, on one level, we cannot help but be present, right? Everything we are doing, we should be present. Otherwise, in our absence, nothing happens, right? And when doing something, we are present. But that is not even close to this mindfulness, this awareness. Awareness, mindful, that's what you're doing. I'm here speaking to my boss. Not just go out and then speak and completely be oblivious of who you are speaking, what you are speaking about, just spew out things. That's not mindfulness. Although you are presently speaking, but you are not present to the act of speaking. You weren't aware that that's what you're doing. You cannot afford to be completely, constantly aware. Maybe a little too much, but every once in a while, at least begin by saying, that's what I'm going to do. When you're doing, see every once in a while, that's what I'm doing. Even in the course of conversation, if you remember, this is what I'm doing. You could still make changes. You could still refine it. And through efforts to be more mindful, we can become more and more mindful. Even when we are angry. Most often we are not. We are angry, we are fully angry. 100% angry. It will come later on. We should save some time for that. We are not aware. We can train ourselves to be aware every now and then to one's own mental state, to one's own verbal state, to one's own physical state. And then there's a chance that even in the midst of becoming angry, I'm angry. At least you are presented with a choice. What do I do now? Whereas otherwise we don't have. Now we are presented with a choice. Do I go ahead and be angry? This is good. This feels good. So go ahead. At least you are doing this consciously. Now you have more control. But in most cases, it would be advisable to stop there. Detour. Take a detour. You're presented with that. It's only possible when you know that you have taken the wrong way. Otherwise, you keep on going and making mess. So yes, the key to defensive driving our life is awareness. Wow. Let me look at this closely. Does it say? It might say something else. It is indeed awareness. Wow. Ooh, this is wonderful. This next one. You should constantly be thinking of an escape route. This is so good. Wow, I love this. Now, from now onward, the driving manual will be my daily prayer. Wow. You should constantly be thinking of an escape route as you drive. For example, something. How I translate this, how I understand this is be always mindful of your physical, verbal actions, but more importantly to one's mental actions, because that's the spring. That's the well from which all these actions spring out. Depending on how good it is, you can expect the physical, verbal actions to be naturally good. If it's not good, you cannot expect it to be good. Even if it makes an appearance, false appearance of good, it will be basically bad. But how to make sure that the well stays unstained, the well stays healthy? By making sure that anytime there is a toxin thrown around or coming close, you try to escape from that. So that means maneuvering your way, steering your way around anger, jealousy, greed, whatnot, so that the mental well stays clear. So always look for an escape route. For now, we have to always escape because it's going to come. If we do a better job, then eventually we can think of, we can just forget about it because it would have been completely rendered weak, completely rendered impossibility. But for now, it is infesting us. It's visiting us every now and then. The slightest triggering can really bring them to the surface. We should be always looking for an escape route so that the mental well can stay clean. With that clean, smart, unsullied, the verbal actions, the verbal external system, the physical external systems cannot be defective. Wow. Do you want to go? There's such a good thing. Well, I should reserve it for some other session. You may have other works to do. One, of course. One, of course. After a little practice, don't feel discouraged. Don't feel that this is too much. Working on the mind. Of course, this is too much and no one else is no one else is to blame. We have spoiled it. We have ourselves spoiled it, and that's not the case to everyone equally. Depending on how much work has gone into really clearing it up, one would have been better off. But most of us find our mind almost kind of mired in toxins, mired in these afflictions and whatnot. We are to blame. So the work will be a little difficult, but that's worth doing it. And that's the only option. If at all we want to clean the mess and really make a difference in our life. If that's what we really want, that's the only option. That's what we have to look inward and work. But one very good thing, even from the diving manual, comes, don't feel discouraged. Persist in your practice. page 90, line 13. After a little practice, this will become more instinctive. See? So I have still more. I have still much more, much more. Yes, even the little boy is agreeing. See, he's in full agreement. Yes, you agree with this, right? Okay, so let's end here with this sense of encouragement. Little practice, it will eventually become instinctive. It will come natural. We have much more. But I think people may have other pressing works to do. Okay, we stop here. And let's all join together in dedicating whatever merits we may have gained in this. Of course, merit not in the sense of concrete things. We all develop some sense of, oh yeah, yes, good, like that. Recognizing what are the possibilities, those are merits. Let's dedicate that for the good of all. Please join me in spirit when I say these prayers. May the world be free from the rife, strife, sufferings, man-made, natural, particularly from the illnesses that keep coming up, like the present Ebola outbreak. By the merit of these efforts that I made in coming here, in giving company to each other, in learning to become a better person, making better use of my life, my time here, by the merit of this, may the world become a more peaceful place with everyone. Rooted in genuine compassion, understanding, love, empathy to each other. Let all actions in all fields of our life, sparing none, be that running a country, moving our economy, changing our educational systems, training and educating the youth, pursuing health, in just about all spheres of life. May all of us be rooted in our basic, genuine goodness. May that have the favorable effect in all fields at all times to come. May everyone benefit from this. May it be so. Yang be jekham chidang kangjor so nemo tuksu la so minchong shin dona chunjor dege so wata penzo benjo le so jejur chi. From the smallest unit of family to society, to community, to nation, to world, to the whole universe, may there be no illness, no sickness, no plagues, no disasters, no wars, no stripes, no battles. May all live in harmony, grounded in loving kindness extending to each other. May it be so. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. So maybe next time we can finish this. You're welcome. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. Please feel free. Feel free to do what you need to do. Don't wait for me. Yeah. Please. Thank you.